What's going on, people? It's your boy Clive Belvin. With me today, boys, gives a shout.
Steve in the house.
Ray in the kind of building.
So today, in fact, we're at Jermaine Defoe's Foundation football tournament. And we're having a great time. Going to be catching up with the main man himself, talk about a lot of boxing. And on today's episode, we'll be discussing Canelo Jacobs, as well as Anthony Joshua and his next opponent, Andy Ruiz. So, Stephen, give us your thoughts on the fight this weekend.
I thought it was a really, really good fight. I know I read a lot of criticism that it wasn't a fan favourite fight. Yeah. But in terms of a boxing enthusiast, I thought it was a very technical fight. And it was just good to see like that high level of boxing on that big stage, because that's why we like boxing. Okay, it's not all about bloods and guts. That there isn't a side to the game like that. Props to Danny Jacobs, man. He was up against it. Like I put on Instagram that Canelo's in the form of his life right now. I know it doesn't look like it because he's had a couple of close decisions against Golovkin. Yeah, Golovkin's no joke. When you get 2 wins over Golovkin, that's good form.
You could say the first one was controversial, though, right?
You could say the first one was controversial, but to even be hanging and banging with Golovkin and putting yourself in the argument that you won both fights. Yeah. It's impressive.
Mate, the way he was making Jacobs miss on the night
was fantastic.
I probably gave Jacobs 4 rounds tops. Yeah. And, going into this fight, I would have thought that Jacobs would have nicked it.
Yeah. Jacobs had the size. I said all along, Jacobs has the style to beat Canelo. Yeah. But having the style is not good. Like, you need to be very fit to beat Canelo. Canelo is very strong. Canelo is very fast. Canelo has great reflex. Canelo is sharp. He's, at this point in his career, how old is he now? 30 years old?
Who's that?
Canelo.
Canelo, younger than that, mate.
He's younger than that.
Early 30s.
Huh?
I'd say
late 20s.
Late 20s.
Yeah, late 20s. He's 29. He's
younger than that even, man.
28, 29 maybe.
Right,
27, 28.
He's younger than me. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, so at this point in his career, he's in the prime of his life. Yeah. And he's a handful. He's a complete fighter. I think he's a complete fighter at this point.
His combinations were on point. His jab was fantastic.
He can do it. Movement. It's very rare that you see a fighter that can do everything. Like what is Canelo? When you think of Canelo, because he's quite short and he's quite a squat fighter, you think he's a come forward fighter. He can come forward. Canelo can box on the back foot. Canelo can box at medium range. Canelo can stand in the pocket and counter punch from the pocket. There's nothing that Canelo can't do right now.
I think he's a complete fighter.
He's a dangerous fighter. Yeah. And Danny Jacobs, to get in there, he should be proud of himself, because he was the B-side there last night. And contractually, he had to sign some things away to get the Canelo fight, because Canelo's such a money fight. You have to do that in boxing. And he signed away the hydration clause. I thought that was a bit unfair. It's particularly how big Jacobs is, and that was a massive advantage for Canelo. Yeah, he's obviously learned from his experience with Mayweather, where he signed a very similar contract, and it was devastating to his performance that night. Yeah, and he benefited tonight. And of course, maybe Jacobs one day can fight his way to be the A side, and he can get the benefits. But when you're fighting a star like Canelo, like a Mayweather, contractually it just takes a lot to beat them. And then when you're fighting someone at the prime of their career as well. I said it all along. Danny Jacobs was up against it. He gave a good performance. He gave as good a performance as he could give, I think. Props to him. But Canelo's a beast right now.
Right, your thoughts, mate?
I think similar to Stephen's sentiments. But also, many people have complained about the bias commentating towards Canelo. I think
expected though, isn't it? In terms of commentary itself.
If you paid £100 million for a fight, would you?
No, I get that, but no, because it's unfortunate, because unfortunately, you indirectly rob Canelo, because that was a great fight on Canelo's behalf. And then if you make it seem like it was easy for Canelo, you rob it of how good Jacobs is, and you rob it of how good it is a feat of Canelo to beat someone like Jacobs.
It is difficult. We've been watching this sport a long time, and there's payoffs to be made, because we want the mainstream to be watching this sport.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? Because you don't get big fights without a big audience. 3-4 million people watching the fight. Yeah. But the mainstream need commentary like that. They need Canelo's great, Canelo's excellent, Canelo's doing this. They don't understand the sport.
No, but there's a medium to it. There is a medium to it, because the same way, don't get me wrong, the sports are different, and I guess like one is still growing. Yeah. But it's like with MMA and watching UFC, which is, you say, the premium product. they are not afraid to. Conor's the biggest star. This guy could lose and he's still the biggest star. But they are still not afraid to be like, to call out Conor when he done something bad in the match. They're not like...
Yeah, but Ray, you're missing the point though. Yeah, Dana White owns all those fighters.
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya owns Canelo. Doesn't own. Like, he promotes him.
Yeah.
Whereas Eddie Hearn promotes Jacobs. There's vested interest there.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that I understand your whole point of they have to make him look spectacular and bigger than big. But then it gets to a point where it's just like, you're making him look big and then you're insulting people's intelligence who actually watch the sport.
I get what you mean. If they were with the same promoter though, so just say Danny Jacobs moved up in weight and fought Callum Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both with Eddie Hearn. You'll see less biased commentary there because Eddie Hearn thinks, well, whoever wins it, I get the champion, I get to be with the champion.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's only when you've got like the A-side fighting a fighter from another promotional company, you're gonna get very biased.
No. I'm not. I think I don't know. We're arguing different points because my thing is, you're saying the reason behind it, which I understand. What my point is that they also need to be careful with backlash because there was a lot of customers that were saying, listen, I didn't pay for this service for you lot to give us a biased commentary because I saw a lot of people saying in the comments, like YouTube comments as well, saying, listen, I'm a fan of Canelo, but this is getting ridiculous. I don't want to pay for a service.
It was this because I didn't really hear about this story. Was this the Zone commentary? Was this Sky Sports commentary?
A bit of both.
Probably a bit of both.
A bit of both.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that we should do a top 5 worst pundits. Sometime. I think Carl Froch has got to be up there for me. He is.
I know who will be in my top 5, and Prince Nazim's definitely up there.
top 5 legends. Yeah. Legendary commentators are big pundits. Yeah. But yeah, no, it is a problem in the sport. But as fans, I think that's what we're trying to do here. So we're trying to educate people, and trying to give a less biased sort of thing. So we wouldn't have a job if they didn't do this.
All right then, boys. Canelo, where is he on your pound for pound list?
For me, there's a lot of things for me that go into pound for pound. I think it's got to be more than just what goes on in the ring. It's got to be star quality. Pound for pound is like that electric fire.
So you got your Lomachenko, you got Usyk, you got Crawford.
If you're talking like just once they step,
we're not going to mention Errol Spence. No, Errol Spence don't get a shout.
I think not yet.
Wow.
For me, not yet. I think for pound for pound, I think you got to go through the weights. I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's why Tyson Fury and people like that will never get to be pound for pound because they've only done it. They can only do it one way.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think like Crawford, lightweight, like welterweight.
Good other divisions, your bantam, your featherweights.
Yeah.
This goes on.
And then you got Lomachenko. He done it in such few fights.
Yeah.
Which is just so impressive. Canelo's so young. He was a world champion. I remember he fought Matthew Hatton for his first world title. He was 20 years old at that point. It's those things that make you pound for pound great. You're doing exceptional things and then on top of that, you're a star. Normally when they've got a nation behind them, that makes them a big pound for pound star.
Yeah.
And then the money they generate, the kind of events that they're in, is Lomachenko in the kind of event that Canelo and Jacobs was in last night yet? Is he in that kind of
fair enough.
That kind of big pay-per-view star, or a DAZN star as it may be now, the subscriber star. And I think if you take all those factors in, the weights, the age, the money behind them, the star quality, I think Canelo is probably my pound for pound #1 guy.
Okay, cool. And we've got another fight in the middleweight division. So we've got Andrade. So he'll be defending his WBO world title against Selecki on Saturday, June 29th. If you were Canelo, would you go for Andrade, or would you see a potential, let's say, a third bout with Golovkin?
See, Andrade is a really good fighter, but he is one awkward fighter. And
exactly.
I don't think Canelo has nothing to be scared of with Andrade. I think Canelo would.
Don't know about that.
I think Canelo.
Can't be going in.
All right,
complacent.
all right. If they come through, then I'll take bets, guys. I'll take bets.
I'll also say it also depends on how good Triple G looks in his next fight with his. So if Triple G puts on a performance and the crowd are calling for it, and then do you know what's going to be more interesting? Now that Triple G is also signed to DAZN, he's going to have more stuff in his favour in comparison. He'll still be the B-side, but it'll be a more powerful B-side because
more of
he can demand
level
more
playing field, let's say.
I don't think he'll ever get a level playing field. But
more of a level playing field.
I think he could demand more cash.
Yeah.
He could get more of the pie, I think, in terms of that. But in terms of keeping Canelo winning, I think Canelo's going to, get the judges and things like that.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think that Andrade has that belt, has the WBO, and if Canelo was to win that off of him, then you get a unified all the belt fight with Triple G. And I think there's something sexy about an all the belts fight. I think, that very rarely happens in boxing. So, so that person, then very rarely we find out this guy's the number one guy. There's no one better than this guy in this division time. Yeah. And the only way you can really do that is by having all the belts. And politically, that's so hard to do in boxing. So, and I think Canelo has that competitive streak to want to go and do that. So clean up the titles, fight Triple G, move up in weight. I think that'll be his go-to.
And you for Jacobs right now? Should he move up in weight?
I'll say, if he's saying that the weight cut affected him that much, I think it might be the best thing for him. And also, with him getting promoted by Matchroom, I'm sure Eddie can get him some good fights at upper weight class.
Callum Smith, boy, he's number one 168 fighter.
So
I would love that to come to the UK. Imagine Danny Jacobs coming to the UK. I would spend money on that. But I think a fight like that would need to probably happen in Las Vegas. Who else is in 168? Is there any Americans at the 168?
Heard Charlo brothers.
Oh, the Charlo, they're another one. Where are they at the minute?
One of them. Who's the 168 one? Who's the one that lost? Was it at 168?
You know what? They got similar fucking first names.
I know. Jamal. Yeah. That's that.
Come on, man. Talking about being creative.
I know. Come on, uninventive parents.
I don't mind. I just don't know which one. I just don't know which one's in which weight class.
Twins. I don't mind that. But these brothers, but twins is like.
Yeah. Why make it hard for yourself, man?
Why? All right. But no, there's a lot of good fights out there. And Danny Jacobs, his stock hasn't taken a hit. If anything, it's gone up. Like, would you watch Danny Jacobs fight again?
Of course.
Yeah, 100%. And
it's not like he got knocked out. Yes, all right.
He lost a close one to what I'm saying is probably the best fighter on the planet right now. If not, might not be your best fighter, but one of the best fighters on the planet right now.
Well, only 3 or 4 points?
Definitely the best middleweight in the world right now. And he lost a close one. So, I think move up in weight. I like the Callum Smith fight. I think Eddie Hearn, if you're listening, get that one made, man.
That's a cracking fight.
That is a cracking fight.
And if you get that one made, give a shout out to the Weigh-In podcast because we called it first.
Doing these things. I heard Carl Froch looking to come back as well, so
mate, he loves trolling about our Carl.
Oh, mate. He's providing a lot of entertainment in those YouTube comments.
Probably have a warm-up fight next, Danny Jacobs, just to re-establish himself in the public eye.
I don't know, just get stuck in there, man. Like, especially at his age.
But you still want to build yourself up because you don't want to go in there and it's just like, you don't want to be known as the guy that lost to Canelo. You still want to be known as...
In your opinion, has Eddie Hearn done a good job of promoting Danny Jacobs?
I think so.
He was his like patient zero in American promoting. That was like the first fighter he signed. Yeah. And within a couple of years,
won a world title.
Got him the world title, got him the Canelo fight on pay-per-view.
But that's what I'm saying. The next fight is going to prove just how good of a promoter Eddie can be with Danny, with an American, shall I say, because this next fight is going to be like, you also capitalize off the star of Canelo. So now it's like, can he make Danny into his own burgeoning star? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. I think Eddie's attentions are going in a different direction. I think Danny Jacobs is getting into that period of his career now where it's just cash out. It's just like fight for money. Do you know what I mean? It's not about build.
That Callum Smith one could be the one to.
But that's just a big fight. That's just a big money fight. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like I think like the idea of him having a few fights, maybe going on a few chat shows, trying to build the profile. I think just. Get him in big, huge fights. Get him the money. Get him out of the game. He's had a hard career. He's had a hard.
Miracle Man angle will always bring eyes. You'll be surprised. Look, do you know how many comments I've seen? Comments I've seen in the comment section on YouTube of all the promo vids of, like, oh my goodness, I didn't know about Danny Jacobs' story. This is inspirational.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think if you build on that angle and then you build up on him, give him a gimme fight, his next fight. Build on that angle again. Just. Build on the whole. I've been knocked down once. It's never kept me down. Get the Callum Smith fight, and then do you get what I'm saying?
And then take him from there. No, there's definitely a story to be told for sure. But in terms of like Haney, for instance, who signed up, Danny Jacobs not going to get the Haney treatment.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, where he like
he's got to fall down the pecking order.
Yeah, I know, but that's because he's young though.
There's end product on the other side.
There's still juice to squeeze out of the Danny Jacobs. I'd say there's still out of like the whole out of his stock, there's still more juice to squeeze, I'd say.
All right, and Danny Jacobs, Callum Smith, that is a real... On these shores, or these UK shores, sure. That's a real fight.
I think you might even bring him to the UK.
Ooh,
I think you don't even need to stay in America
he needs a big UK show. He hasn't done one for a while, do you know what I mean? Like, Whyte Rivas, I don't know if that's not Josh Klitschko, you know what I mean? He hasn't done a big one for a while. Right, what else we got?
So, we were talking about Golovkin earlier. So, he's got a new trainer, Jonathan Banks.
What's the credentials of one Mr. Jonathan Banks then?
Steve, enlighten us.
He was the assistant to Manny Stewart.
Yeah,
the legendary
RIP. So he was Manny Stewart's. He was a fighter under Manny Stewart. Then he became his right hand man, helping him train Klitschko. When Manny Stewart fell ill and then eventually passed away, he became the head trainer for Klitschko. And he took him to all those world titles. He trained him for the Fury fight. He trained him for the Anthony Joshua fight. He trained Dillian Whyte for the Anthony Joshua fight.
Oh wow!
So he's got a lot of credentials. There are a lot of criticisms though that when he took over Klitschko, the competitive fights that he had, he lost. So he lost to Tyson Fury, he lost to Joshua, and Dillian Whyte lost to...
It's a bit harsh though, considering Klitschko was... Exactly, and he was coming to the end of his career, let's say.
But
so he was past his prime.
All right, but Jonathan Banks hasn't had a meaningful... He hasn't had his own fighter come through. So he took a great fighter on the tail end of his career, and he did kind of what you would expect to happen, really. Yeah. I don't think Klitschko boxed very well in that Joshua fight, to be honest. I thought he could have done a little bit more. So I think...
I didn't win in the fight.
Yeah, I didn't win in the fight.
Do you think he fought well, though?
Yeah. I think he got...
I thought Joshua was all over the place. Joshua was gassed, and I think he should have stepped on him and should have got rid of him.
But that's more of a mental thing on his part.
But I watching the build-up, I don't want to go into this now, but watching the build-up, Jonathan Banks was saying the whole time, you got to be really scared of his right hand. You got to be wary of his right hand, and I think he's scared. I think he badly managed that Klitschko's fragile brain after the Fury fight. So I think he's got a lot to prove. I would wonder why Golovkin is making decisions like this at this stage of his career. His trainer's talking about getting lowballed on the offers. Is Jonathan Banks taking a lowball offer?
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of this. I think that
intriguing times.
You saw Kovalev do this as well.
Yeah.
He sacked his trainer before the Ward fight. Said he didn't want to give him the money for the big payday. He got stopped. You know what I mean? I don't like to see that.
You got to ask yourself, is the money worth it? Because what I don't get from certain fighters, but obviously we're not privy to behind the scenes stuff.
Of course, yeah.
It's like, the trainer's getting more money, but they should be. If you're getting more money, so should the trainer.
Well, look at the way Virgil Hunter looked after Amir Khan in his last fight. He took the sort of sting out of him. Like he got him out of that fight when he knew it was going wrong. That's what an experienced trainer will do for you, and
that's why they get paid a big bucks for.
Exactly. Kovalev's trainer got him beaten up and stopped by Ward in the second fight. The guy he brought in. So it's not always like you say. Sometimes money's not the be all and end all. And
so the whole Kell Brook situation, him leaving Dominic Ingle.
Yeah.
Really, was that the right choice? I don't know, because look how he looked in his last fight. And,
do you know what I mean? I don't like fighters leaving. If you're leaving for a fresh start and you're trying to do something, and you're getting another celebrity trainer who you're still going to pay good money to, but you're looking for something new. When you're leaving to try to get like a cheap trainer, you just think, do you know what? You're
disarming yourself.
That's bad. That's a bad sign. Also, it's bad promotion for Triple G, because how ambitious is he really? Is Canelo leaving his trainer?
It's his dad.
Yeah, it's his dad. Everyone's there. No, but do you know what I mean though? Like, ambitious fighters don't sack their trainer at that point in their career. Like fighters who are trying to just cash out of the sport and trying to just.
Well, to be fair, Triple G is getting older. Yeah, he's getting older.
35, 36.
All right, that's fair. That's fair enough. But why should I watch these fights then if he's not ambitious enough to pay a trainer?
Not even that. Maybe
that's up to the promoter to now convince us.
All right, well, I'll be banging the drum.
All right, cool lads. Now moving on to the heavyweight scene. Anthony Joshua finally got an opponent, Andy Ruiz. So the fight still taking place, Madison Square Garden, June the 1st. Steve, talk to me. Your thoughts on Andy Ruiz?
Andy Ruiz, a very underrated fighter. I've always liked Andy Ruiz. He's very impressive. Impressive heavyweight for his size. His most notable fight was his world title fight against Joseph Parker.
Yeah.
In which he lost what a lot of people said was a controversial split decision.
I thought he won. Let's not forget this fight was taking place in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And I think this fight should happen a long time ago.
Yeah,
and Joshua.
And I think it's a shame that Andy Ruiz's name hasn't been more out there.
Yeah.
He hasn't been being linked as one of those kind of those top contenders, you know, like the Millers, like the Brazils of the world who constantly get mentioned. You know, Luis Ortiz, he's easily as good as any of them.
Pretty much. But we're talking 32 wins, 33 fights.
Yeah, and he's got very quick hands, so he's notable attributes. He's got a very good chin. He's got very quick hands. He's got very good counter punching, and he's a very brave fighter. Okay, he's not scared of power. He doesn't run away.
Yeah.
He likes to counter punch from on the spot. Okay, it's a difficult fight for Anthony Joshua, because if you look at the Takam fight, in which Takam gave Joshua a lot of problems on short notice, Andy Ruiz, similar size to Takam, similar sort of style, kind of counter punch off the back foot, quick hands. Joshua struggles with styles like that. Okay.
Well, people moving in front of him, pretty much.
Smaller fighters as well that move a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. It's hard to pin them down. It's hard to get the sort of range. It's hard to get the accuracy. I don't think Andy Ruiz will. I think Andy Joshua will have enough to turn him over.
Yeah.
But I think for the first half of the fight, I think Andy Joshua's had a full camp, and I think that might come into part of it. So the later rounds, I think Anthony Joshua will start to take over.
Yeah.
But I think the first 3-4 rounds of this fight are as dangerous for Anthony Joshua as a lot of the fights that he's had.
Well, Andy Ruiz, he's had 6 weeks, let's say. And to be fair, when, that whole situation blew up about Miller, I'm sure all these guys were on notice. They're all at the gym.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're talking, this is like the lottery ticket, man.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
At least 5 mil.
And you got to bear in mind as well, how different is Miller to Andy Ruiz? It's massively different, right?
Yeah.
So what was Anthony Joshua's sparring like for the first part of this camp? Nothing like Andy Ruiz. Okay, he had big sort of sluggers coming at him. That change is massive. Okay, the whole psychology of the thing. We saw it with Takam when Pulev pulled out. It was a completely different style, and that visibly affected Anthony Joshua. So I think this is. I think Eddie Hearn's right. Normally, he says a lot to sell a fight, but I think he's right in the sense that this is a more interesting fight than people will give it credit for.
For sure.
And I hope that people don't just look at Andy Ruiz and think, oh, they judge a book by its cover. This guy can fight. Watch this fight.
Mate.
Watch this fight.
Check out, his highlight reel. This guy is the real deal.
I actually think in a fair fight and where it's all geared up, I think Andy Ruiz will beat Miller.
Yeah, I think so.
Therefore, and then I think the styles don't match up very well for Anthony Joshua. I think Miller's style marries up a lot better for Anthony Joshua than Andy Ruiz. So.
Well, you know what? If Andy Ruiz was to win, then he'll be Mexico's first heavyweight world champ.
What an achievement, because you don't often get many Mexican heavyweights, so I don't think that would ever be topped. And I think that would be really impressive. And what a time to be a Mexican fight fan when you've got Canelo. You would have Andy Ruiz. What a time to be a Mexican boxing fan.
It's quite nuts, considering I think that these two should have been fighting many years ago for that WBO title.
Yeah, for sure. That was Anthony Joshua. That was Andy Ruiz's fight, wasn't it? That should have been Joseph fight. Like Andy Ruiz should have got all that money. So I think it
seems like destiny to me.
It's just rough. Well, you never know. But no, Andy Ruiz is a good fighter, and I think I implore people to definitely go and check this fight out for sure.
I think don't think it'll go the distance. I'm gonna go for I'm comfortable. We're going with Joshua in this fight, but I don't think it'll be an easy ride. I
think there'll be some sticky situations. Rounds 1 to 4.
Yeah.
From there, I think Andy Ruiz the legs will slow and the speed will go from his hands, and then Joshua will just get that fraction, those marginal sort of gains, to try to get a foothold in the fight, and then I think it will become very difficult for Andy Ruiz from rounds 6 to 7, 8, around there. It'll probably start to come unstuck.
You happy with the choice?
Yeah, more than happy. Of the options that are available, Luis Ortiz, for whatever reason, didn't seem to want it.
What'd you make of that?
He's been eating that Mexican beef, buddy.
I don't know anyone that would turn down 5 mil. Yeah. Considering how much did he make from the Wilder fight? 500,000?
Yeah.
One title online?
Yeah, it's a joke. He knows. Apparently
very suspect.
Apparently he signed up to fight Deontay Wilder next.
Yeah, but come on now. Is he going to be getting paid as much?
Absolutely not. And you've already been knocked out by Wilder. Why not give Joshua a run?
So apparently Wilder, so he's looking to fight Ortiz next, then Kanaki. So in terms of Joshua, we're looking at least...
I think he's getting a lot of stick for that when Eddie Hearn has also announced that Joshua is going to be fighting Andy Ruiz and then Ustinov. So they're both at it. They don't want to. There's too much.
Yeah.
Like what we were talking about with
Floyd
with Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo Jacobs. Look what Jacobs had to give away to get the fight.
Yeah.
Rehydration clause, referees, judges, blah blah blah. Neither of them feel like they're the B-side. Why should I sign that away? And until one of them becomes a notable B-side, like what happened with Manny Pacquiao and Mayweather, that's what's going to have to happen for those fights to get made. Unfortunately, I can't see those fights ever getting made until they come to the end of their career. To be honest, it's a sad thing.
This is what does my nutting about boxing, mate.
Yeah,
so fucking annoying.
It's an absolute nightmare. And Dillian Whyte is on the outskirts, and he's playing that game. He doesn't see himself as and he doesn't even have a title. So if everyone just does that, what fights will you ever get to see?
So how long did we wait for Floyd Pacquiao? We're talking 6 to 8 years, right?
Far too long, and I waited up too long that night as well.
It wasn't even worth it.
It was a joke, but no,
it's crazy.
And I don't. It's a shame. In my lifetime, well, you could argue that Holyfield was alive during that times, but this is arguably one of the best sort of heavy, like modern heavyweight times. And it's just a shame. I just don't think they're all going to fight each other. I think it's just politics going to get in the way again.
Yeah.
They're all gone to different networks. I think we were fortunate enough to have already seen Josh Klitschko, Fury Klitschko, and Fury Wilder, but I think we were spoiled with that. I don't think we're going to get those fights anymore. Well,
July 20th, we got Oscar Rivas, Dillian Whyte, and Andrew from the weigh-in, in fact, was at a press conference, and he spoke to both Dave Allen and Price about their upcoming fight. And this is what the lads had to say.
So I'm now with Dave Allen here in London ahead of the announcement that you're going to be taking on David Price at London's O2 Arena. You're certainly there, the man in form. The man is creating all the headlines at the moment. I discussed your recent win against Lucas Brown.
Yeah, it was nice, a good victory. Third round stoppage, I didn't think it would come that early, but I was confident I would beat him. I think I got him at the right time, and I think that's the possibility of what's going to happen with David Price. I think I've got him at the right time.
And some shot that was, some body shot.
Nice, some of these bigger names who have landed that shot, everyone had been raving about it. Well, because it was me, it was a lucky shot, I guess. But I'm alright with that. I keep landing lucky shots until people can see that I'm meaning it.
Now your career is certainly going in the right direction. What's that been down to?
A bit of hard graft, a bit of luck, a bit of everything, really. I guess life's all about things coming together, and things are finally all coming together with Darren and my training and finding new lease of life down south with him and other things. So it's going great, man.
And how is life down south?
Really good. I'm enjoying it. It's different. It's different, but it's fun. It's new. I always like change, so it's nice.
What new things are you working on at the moment?
We're working on trying to punch somebody that's only 7 foot, so it's new. I'm not sure we're not started camp yet, but I'm sure we will in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see where we go. There's obvious things, the jabs to the body, work the body, there's numerous things.
A win against Price, where does that leave you?
It puts me top 15 in the world, I believe. And then we'll roll the dice and see where we're at. Obviously, we're world heavyweight champion. But look, we are. It's the dream. It's the biggest prize in sport. And until that's no longer achievable, that's what I'll be aspiring to do.
I'm now with David Price. Big fight coming up against Alan. He spoke highly of you. He said you're a bigger puncher, you're a harder man. There's quite a lot of compliments going your direction. Bit of mind games?
I'd say I'm a bigger puncher than Dave Allen, but I think Dave Allen's he's modest as a person. He puts himself down for a laugh type of thing, but deep down I think he believes that he's the better fighter, because we're all boxers and we do that. The mind games thing is, I don't think so, especially not this far out from the fight. 3 months away to fight. No type of mind games that have an effect on anyone at this stage, I don't think. I haven't even started training for the fight yet, but he's giving me credit, and that's the right thing to do though as a fighter, because look, if you're fighting someone and you're giving them down the banks and saying they're this and that, unless you're trying to really get in the head, then when you beat them, you've beat someone who you've said is crap or this or that. So it's good to give your opponent credit, because when you do win, it makes you look better. You see, you say, I told you how good he was and how I beat him. So I've never really understood people who give opponents a bad time before a fight, as far as their ability is concerned. So I think, it's quite possibly the right way to go about it, and I do the same. I always try and give my opponents credit. It's the old-fashioned way of doing it, really.
Now, he's certainly the informed man in terms of going into this fight. How do you rate his recent performance against Lucas Browne?
The only thing to take from that fight was the finish, and it was a fantastic finish. So, his performance was fantastic as a result. Great win, great finish. You've got to take your hat off to him.
Now, you said earlier today that you actually was rooting for Lucas Browne. Why was that?
Because I believed Lucas Browne to be the better fight for me as far as styles are concerned. I just felt Lucas Browne would suit my style a little bit more than Dave Allen, although Dave Allen would have been my second choice out of everyone in the heavyweight division to fight after Lucas Browne. So out of the two, I was preferring Lucas Browne.
Now, you've called this fight the biggest fight of your career. What have you got to do to not only get past him, but what does this win do for you in terms of the doors opening going forward?
It's definitely going to create another opportunity for me in the form of a big fight. Who and where, I don't know, but that's in boxing. If you keep winning, the phone keeps ringing, and if you don't, you find it stops ringing. So that's all I'm wanting is another opportunity after it.
Now, what was your immediate thoughts after that sort of infamous bite from Cash Ali in a recent fight?
It was sort of wild to register really, and then it was one of them where you're asking yourself if that just really happens. It's a bit surreal, but it happens, and that's it. I'd forgot about it after a couple of days. I think more other people were talking about it more than myself, and I was sick of hearing his name after a few days. But yeah, he made a mistake on the night, but life goes on.
Have you guys spoken since?
He sent me a message a couple of days later apologising, and I accepted his apology. So I felt it was sincere enough, and that's it. I haven't spoken to him since then.
Now, how frustrating is it for a boxer when a fight sort of ends in these kind of bizarre circumstances? I guess there was a couple of things you might have been keen to work on in terms of your punching power.
I felt I had him ready to go at the time, and the fifth round I lost my shape a little bit after a bit of a fast start. So I was frustrated with that I'd let him land a few punches, got through, but that was just me being picky. I would have liked a more conclusive finish, but before the fight I said to myself I just need to win one way or another, and that happened, and I'll find myself here as a result.
So you're fighting on the same night that Dillian Whyte takes on a Colombian Oscar Rivas. Who do you see coming out on top?
I think Dillian Whyte's going to be the more polished of the two, and he'll outbox him and win on points. And
how close do you feel Dillian Whyte is in terms of breaking that into that party?
He's there, isn't he? He's just, for whatever reason, they're not inviting him in. But if he keeps doing what he's doing, knocking, which he is, they're not going to be able to deny him much on, because he's taking really good fights, really dangerous fights, so you've got to take your hat off to him.
Now, your fight is about 3 months away now, so when will you start going into a training camp?
I'll start a training camp in 2 weeks' time from now, but until then I'll just be doing, some running, some weights, things like that. Just enjoying a little bit of normality still, and then I'll do a 10-week training camp after the fight.
Now, there's quite a severe height difference. In terms of the weight, where are you looking at?
I don't know whether I'm going to try and come in a bit heavier for this fight with Dave Allen, or come in lighter for the speed. We'll decide when we've spoke about tactics and things like that. So I'm not sure.
Excellent.
So Steve, what's your thought on the undercards? Dave Allen, Dave Price.
I think it was a fight that's been called on by the public, the British boxing fight fans. I think we all wanted to see it.
Battle of the Daves.
The Battle of the Daves, and I think both two characters, two good servants to the game. I hope they're getting paid well. I think it'll be a really good fight. For 4 rounds, it's a really, really interesting fight. If Dave Allen can get through those first 4 rounds, it becomes his fight to lose.
As much as I love, watching both fighters, Dave Allen, he's not got the best defense. Price, his chin has been tested, and it's
he's failed that test on more times than I failed my driving test.
Quite a few occasions, to say. So whoever wins this fight, they're a major contender. We're talking potential bouts with the likes of Chisora.
Well, it's just a natural route, isn't it? Who would you rather? So rather than who you think will win the fight, who would you rather see fight Chisora? Because I think that's the natural fight. Who?
David Allen.
Yeah, do you think Dave Allen Chisora makes a good fight?
Yeah.
I always wanted to see the Chisora Price fight, even back in the day when, like in the 2011, 2012 times, when they were both like killers on the scene. Yeah. I wanted to see that fight back then, and it never happened.
Tony Thompson came
on. Tony Thompson fucking ruined it for everyone.
So I remember watching that fight with you, in fact.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a potential bout between Price and Fury.
Well, yeah. Fury didn't want it, you know. Yeah, Price has the dirtiest right hand in the game. You don't know about David Price, all right? But unfortunately, I just think Price has had a long career, and I think that Dave Allen has a lot of momentum in his career now. So out of the two of them, who has more to lose in their career right now? Who when it gets tough in that fight, is going to push through? And Dave Allen's shown that he will push through. He pushed through against Luis Ortiz. If you can get to the 8th round against Luis Ortiz, if you can do 10 rounds with Dillian Whyte, I think you can get through those 4 or 5 rounds with David Price. And then David Price he just seems to wilt when it comes to that time. But that will be a really fun fight whilst it lasts. Was there another fight for the undercard announced, or was that it so far?
Get mixed up. So I know Algieri's fighting Tommy Cole, but I think that's on the Joshua undercard.
Yeah, that's on the Joshua undercard. I think they're still because there was talk of a Coley Lebedev, but they've said they've scrapped that now, haven't they? Yeah. But yeah, so that's shaping up to be quite a good little card.
By the time this episode gets released, we're talking like Thursday later this week, so it may be a case where more fights will get announced.
I'm sure they will, and I'm sure we'll do a sort of more of a breakdown of Whyte Rivas as it comes closer. But I like the fight. I've watched a few clips of Rivas now. He looks like a strong sort of game boy. He
looks the part for sure.
He'll bring some heat.
He beat Brian Jennings in his last fight.
But like we're saying, Dillian Whyte outside of them top 3 is the man.
Yeah, he's the most improved.
Yeah,
he's in form.
Yeah, he's the man, and it's only a matter of time before he gets that title shot because he's not going to lose to any of those other guys.
For me, it should have been him fighting Wilder right now.
Yeah, it's
the WBC strap.
Well, you can see they don't want to fight him. Like they might beat him. I'm not, because I personally think that Dillian Whyte Wilder, I think, is just such a good fight. Like that fight for me.
I think Whyte could do it.
I think I'd rather, but in terms of seeing that fight, I think I'd rather see that fight than Whyte Joshua, just because I just think they both throw with such devastation. Oh, that would be such a good fight.
The build up itself.
Oh my god, hilarious. Yeah, Joshua plays it like Joshua's got that devil in him, but he mastered it very well. Whereas Wilder and Whyte, they don't mess around. So yeah, we can dream though as boxing fans. We can dream.
Unfortunately, May 18th we've got Wilder Brazil.
Oh yes, the one we've all been looking forward to.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. I might have an early night.
Yeah, I'll catch it. No, it's
Brazil got any chance?
He's got. No. Ultimately.
It's a shame because...
there's the background story.
I want someone to take that title away.
I would love for someone to disrupt it, but...
Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be Dominic Brazil.
It's a very uninspired choice. Brazil, he's an athletic dude and he's a contender for sure, but he doesn't really do anything that well. Like he doesn't punch very hard. He hasn't really got that great of an engine. Ultimately, he's gonna get stopped. And then you got Fury against Swartz. It's peak times out here for the heavyweight boxing scene.
It can be tough times being a boxing fan, right?
It can be. Joe Joyce Ustinov.
I don't know, man.
What else we got?
Brazil, May 18th. I'm just going because it should have been a rematch with Fury.
Yeah, it should. That fight definitely should have happened. And now look, they've gone their separate ways to build the fight. Once fights start, when will the money ever be enough? When is a fight ever big enough? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There'll always be. If we did it for another year, if we build up for another year, there'll always be something more. You just got to call it. Just fight each other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just fight.
All right then, boys. So that's it. Episode 17. Hope you all enjoyed that. Like, subscribe, all of that. Peace.